So we're here to talk about sparkling wine tonight, which is great. When I started with Corney & Barrow, it took them less than a week to realise I didn't know how to open a bottle of sparkling wine properly. So possibly lack of due diligence on their part. But hopefully I can get it right tonight. I'll just get the first bottle. As Colette mentioned, I'm based in Newmarket, so we're the kind of East Anglian operation part of the business. I have worked in London as well, and bits and pieces around the company. But we're a smaller team of five up here, and kind of look after the region with the added advantage of having the England's only Corney & Barrow shop. So the other one is up in Scotland. So yeah, we're Colette. We might talk a bit more about that later on, but let's kick off with some fizz. So we're starting with the Fagère. Let me hold it. Oh, which way? Sorry. Fagère from Le Culture. Twist the bottle, not the cork, and 45 degrees. And yes, we didn't leak anything, so that's a good start. That's there. Should be visible for everybody. Great. So Culture, the Ruggieri family, they've been farming the land here since around the 1500s. Haven't always made Prosecco because nobody knew how to make Prosecco in the 1500s, but more recently that's what they've been up to. So we have a range of wines from these guys. They're based in Val d'Obiadene. I must apologise in advance for all my pronunciations of Italian words this evening. It's not a forte, but it's the core part of the Prosecco growing region. Where the majority of what's planted is a grape called Glera. And what we have here is one of their kind of special cuvées. It's a DOCG, so that is Denominazione di Origine Controllata e Garantita. So controlled and guaranteed denomination of origin. It's almost the same words in English, which makes it easy for me. But that is actually the highest level of classification of wines in Italy. So you have DOCG, then you have DOCs, then you have the IGTs, and then you have the Vino di Tavola. So there's kind of four main classifications, and this actually sits at the top, despite being fairly reasonably priced, which is very nice. DOCG for Prosecco, it was introduced, I think, in 2009. With the real rise of Prosecco consumption, enjoyment around, certainly, especially in the UK, but globally as well. I think people started to feel that not all Proseccos were equal, and that some from the steeper slopes, the terraces where the DOCGs are mainly based, actually were producing better wines, lower yields. In this case, older vines. This is about 35 years of age for vines on I think 35 on average, which means that the yield starts producing, and that then does mean that the price has to go up a little bit, but should be backed up by the quality. So yeah, it's a balancing act of getting enough juice and being commercially viable, but also getting a bit of quality. So we do stock the standard DOC, and then we have three DOCGs, mainly two. There's a little one called Cottice, which we only see a very small bit. That's very, very sweet. There is the I'm going to forget it now. We have an extra brut from them as well, and then the Fagère, which is the brut. So this is actually the driest of the trio of the DOCGs. Comes in at about 9 grams per litre of residual sugar, which is slap bang kind of average champagne dosage, which is the kind of the added sugary bit that goes into the bottle at the when it's actually bottled. So difference between this wine and the other two we're going to taste tonight is this is made in the Charmat method, which is where you make your base wine and then it goes into a steel tank for the secondary fermentation. A bit of sugar and yeast is added in there, and the carbon dioxide is absorbed into the liquid within that large tank. And then it's bottled after that with no bits or anything in it. So it's a fairly clean method of production, and it does make for slightly softer carbonation. This is spumante. You can also get frizzantes, which are less fizzy, basically. Slightly softer carbonation than a bottle fermented wine, but the added bonus I find is the extra freshness that it brings to the table. So. I forgot to bring a spittoon, so I'm not going to spit out. We're in the garden. I could have just, anyway. So for me, that's really a really nicely rounded Prosecco. It is still fresh, but it has a little bit of richness, more richness than I'd expect from a DOC or anything I've just picked up had a glass of in the pub. But it still has good citrus, slightly appley maybe, and decent length as well for the type of wine it is. So I hope for those of you who've got a glass in front of you, it cuts the mustard, as it were. So next up, I wanted to try the Rjukan Marlen Sparkling. Very elegant bottle. I really like the way this is laid out. They haven't bothered with foil on the top, which is actually really useful sometimes. So really fresh, lovely, consistent growing season. That's one of the real advantages to the region. And here she is looking up to the sky, falling in love with a god. And life's never the same after that. So Rjukan Marlen, the House of the Young Earl. It was founded by Jean-Pierre and Jacques Louis in 1998. And we were actually the first company to have their wines outside of bring their wines outside of Argentina. So and we worked with them since 2001. For those local who are watching, we have had very successful dinner at the tack room with the guys when they've been over from the estate, and I'm sure once we're allowed to, we'll look to put on another event. It's the Malbec in particular that they produce is it must be one of the most popular wines in Newmarket. We have long-standing relationship and just really well-made wines. This, however, is the fizzy one. It's not the Malbec. I haven't done fizzy Malbec today. So the winery has plots in Luján de Cuyo and also the Uco Valley, and these ones, this is Pinot Noir. If you've got it in front of you, it's got this lovely kind of coppery colour, and that's because it's 75% Pinot Noir and 25% Chardonnay. This is fully champagne method, as you'd expect from a couple of chaps called Jean-Pierre and Jacques Louis. They are adopting the traditional methods of the French region, and so this is bottle fermented. So the base wine is made, then in the bottle the wine is unfiltered. The bits then create the carbon dioxide that integrates into the juice and causes the fizz. It spends 18 months in the bottle before it's then disgorged and the Budweiser bottle cap comes off and the actual cork goes in. So this is the base wine for this is from 2016, and again, like many non-vintage champagnes, they also have a bit of juice from 2014 and 2015 as well in there, just to balance it out and so that they can create a consistent style. Lots more fruit in there, like toasted, like nice toastiness as well, slightly almondy, and I much more body to it, and a bit of grip as well. But I really like that. It's a lovely Pinot heavy blend, and good flavour to it. So very happy. Slightly drier. This is 6 grams per litre of residual sugar, but I don't think generally it's not something to get too worried about. It just has a nice crispness to it for it. The other thing I should mention about Rukamalan is they have a fantastic winery restaurant, which we hope will be resurgent afterwards. They sit down every month. They open a series of wines. They sit there and taste them, and then they design a menu for that month around whatever's locally the produce that's fresh. But the menu is driven by the tasting of the wines and how they are at that stage, which I think is a lovely concept. It's what I do at home a lot. Is choose the wine first, and then I decide what we're eating. It's a bit of an odd way to do it, but it's the way I like to. Right. So number 3, Champagne Delamotte. I mean, really iconic champagne house. Doesn't sponsor horse races and spend money on handbags and things like that. So it's all about the juice. They're based in. Hold on, where's my camera? They're based in Manos-sur-Oger, and they were founded in 1760. So they've got 20 years on Corny and Barrow. Salon Le Mesnil is a absolutely stupendous champagne and really highly sought after, and it's the sister house of Delamotte. They're all made in the same. But I find Delamotte for me is a staple. You have the Brut, which is a wonderful blend, 60-30-10 Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and then you have the Blanc de Blanc non-vintage, which is what this is. Where's the cork? So we have, this was disgorged in spring 2018, and the majority of the liquid for this comes from the 2013 vintage. Delamotte itself state that they'll age in bottle for a minimum of 3 years, but from when it was picked and when it was disgorged, I think probably this has been nearer 4. So pour a little bit. Above the Blanc de Blanc non-vintage is in kind of hierarchy are the Blanc de Blanc vintages that Delamotte produce. Those are absolutely exceptional, and I love them with a good amount of age on. I've had some quite old ones and been fortunate enough to try them. But this really, for me, is an iconic champagne from them because it is ready to go straight out of the gate. It will age for longer, but it does do what it needs to straight away. I mean, straight away, immediately on the nose, you've got that lovely richness already. It's really tasty. You can see there's a bit of chalkiness from the hillside. It's like my kids devour brioche in the morning, and definitely got brioche notes in there. And it's just full of flavour. So I really enjoy that. This is 7 grams per litre, so we're all within sweetness levels. They're all fairly similar, and on a par with each other. I think for me, Delamotte has been just making really, really great fizz for a long time, and continue to do so, which is what we want to see. Really, the quality level is great, and I'm always happy when I sell a bottle to someone because I know they're going to enjoy it.